Welcome back to my Star Wars Expanded Universe chronological review series. Today we're taking a look at the Tales of the Jedi audio drama, which was adapted from Tom Veitch's story by John Whitman, the author of Galaxy of Fear, who wrote this into audio drama form. This takes place in 3980 BBY, and it was published by Highbridge Audio. This was released in 2005 and could be gotten on cassette tapes or on CDs. The total runtime of this audio drama is 2 hours and 45 minutes. And what this audio drama adapts is Tales of the Jedi, as in the original 5-issue series, as well as the 2 issues from Tales of the Jedi, The Freed and Nad Uprising. So not only did this adapt the original Tales of the Jedi series, but it also adapted the Freed and Nad Uprising into an audio drama as well. Now, you might be saying, why are you including this? When you get to the books, are you going to include the audio dramas there? No, I'm not, because that's a direct adaptation of a book, word for word with the book. But what this audio drama is an adaptation of a comic, so things had to be changed. There is some new stuff here. So it follows pretty much the same story as the comics, as in the original 6 issues plus Freed and Nad Uprising, but it does have some new dialogue. So while it tells roughly the same story, and to my knowledge as I was going through, because as I was listening to the audio drama, I also had the comics opened as well, because I wanted to make sure there were no contradictions. And while I couldn't find any continuity errors between it, I did find many instances of new dialogue and new lines. Examples of these new lines is stuff just to make it more effective as an audio drama. So when Arkajeth is talking about the beast attacks on Onderon from the comics, added in his dialogue of a woman screaming, "My baby, it stole my baby," as a creature drags her baby away off into the abyss. So this is an example of new dialogue that makes it sort of have some new EU information to it. I would definitely recommend listening to this while reading along with the comic, at least on a second read-through, because it's very interesting. And another one that I noted down was one of the Beast Rider soldiers references a bathtub in the audio drama, which I thought was very funny. That was not in the comics, but that was an added line of dialogue between 2 random soldiers in the audio drama. Now, the voice acting here, is it good? It's like this cheesy 1990s audio with these voice actors. These voice actors are very cheesy in their line delivery. My dog just showed up and is making recording very difficult, but I shall continue on. So the audio for the voices themselves, the actors are very committed to their roles. They really go above and beyond. It kind of reminds me of William Shatner's performance as Kirk in the original series. They really ham it up, as they say, as the acting here is terrifically and suitably over the top for the dialogue. But at the same time, there's a charm to that, where it being goofy and ridiculous and weird and wacky, and the voice acting being horrible by today's standards, gives it a charm that makes it very of that era. You sort of get the sense that it's a product of that time period, and that makes it almost have a nostalgic quality to it. While the voice acting is not great, the special effects are on point. It's ILM doing the sound effects, so the blasters, the lightsabers, the music, all of that is on point and absolutely fantastic. The voice acting, though, is it's kind of weird. But at the same time, it's interesting, and it almost makes it better, the fact that their voice acting is so weird and odd. So overall, there are some new lines of dialogue that weren't in the comics, which adds new EU. And how much of this is there? There's quite a bit. I only noted down 2 things I noticed, but I noticed a lot more. There's a lot of instances of new dialogue that will make you think of that there's more going on. It adds more. Like, for example, a creature growling and dragging a baby off into the darkness and a woman screaming that the creature has her baby. That was not depicted in the comic. That was only depicted in the audio drama. So it does add a new element. It adds more depth to it. This is a telling of those stories in an audio drama form, but there is lots of new dialogue here, and the sound effects really hammer it home. So how new is this? I'd say it's way more new content than an audio drama for a book, because that's no new content. There is literally practically new scenes in this audio drama. Specifically, the dialogue is altered from the comics, but the dialogue from the comics is in the audio drama to an extent, but for visualizing the comic, they have to describe what's going on. So one character is like, my arm just got chopped off, is what Kay says in the audio drama. He's like, brother, my arm just got severed. And then later he's like, my droid arm got cut off. He has to tell, because you're listening to it, and you don't have the visual picture. So for a lot of the events that occur, they have to describe them in the dialogue. So some of the dialogue's altered slightly. I don't think that's continuity problems. I think it all works together. But they have to describe what's going on, the characters do, for the audience to grasp what is going on. And then, like, there's a bit where Tot Donita and Ulick are fighting in the opening minutes of it. And they're, like, sparring, and one of them's like, good move, Ulick. The other one's like, nice parry, Tot. And so they have to describe what's going on since you can't actually see it on the panels. Overall, what would I give this? I'd give this a 6 of 10. It's a fine, fun listen through. It's if you have if you almost have 3 hours to kill, I definitely recommend listening to these, and especially if you follow along with the comic as it's going on. It's an enjoyable experience. And new lore stuff like bathtubs exist in Star Wars. I don't know if that was confirmed anywhere else. Makes this worthwhile, I'd say. If you like Tales of the Jedi, I definitely recommend checking out this audio drama. But what about you guys? Anyone who's read who has listened to the Tales of the Jedi audio drama, what did you think of it? Did you think it was hilarious with the goofy and cheesy voice acting? Did you like it more because of that, like I did? Did you hear other instances of new dialogue that added new EU lore to it? What did you take away from this audio drama? Let me know.